welcome. I hope you did enjoy the music a bit. You are welcome to the Women in Chemistry Network Mentorship Program, our first virtual workshop, which has the theme or the information for you today is from classroom to business, turning science knowledge into real opportunity. Today we have amazing guest speakers and mentors and mentees around. I pray that by the end of this meeting, we will be able to transform our knowledges that we acquire in our classrooms to business opportunities for our own good. So welcome to the second virtual workshop of Women in Chemistry or Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Program. Please give a clap, 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 clap. The emoji is down there. Can give as many clap celebrations. Keep it coming. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As our prayer mama in the house, Mrs. Christina Lawson. If you are around, we would like you to give us the opening prayer.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. We're praying. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for how far you brought us. We thank you for giving us the ability to gather here today to listen to something that's going to be life transforming for us. We thank you for providing us with the resources and the people to disseminate this information. We pray that whatever purposes for which we've gathered today, at the end of the day, we'll be able to achieve it all to the glory of your name. This and many other blessings we have blessed on Jesus Christ, our Lord. We thank you. Amen.
Amen. Please give Miss Lawson, a clap offering. Keep the emojis coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We will be taking our welcome address from our chairperson, who is the person of Professor Marian Asantewah Nkansah. She is the founder and the convener of the Women in Chemistry Network. She is a professor in environmental chemistry and the director of student affairs at Kwame Nkrumah University for Science and Technology. Her research focuses on environmental problems, identifying heavy metals, organic pollutants, among others. Just recently, she was inducted into the World Academy of Sciences. Give it up, give it up, give it up. She's also in the Ghana Academy of Arts and Science, Royal Society of Chemistry, among others. She leads various advocacy programs, basically to provide platforms for networking, training, mentorship, among others, for young, mid, and early career scientists. With a clap offering, let's welcome Professor Marian Asantewah Nkansah. Give me more, give me more. Keep it coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Professor Marian, your people, my people, Professor Marian.
Thank you very much, Afua, for the kind introduction. And good afternoon, WICN members, our friends, our associates, mentees in particular, for whom this project has been put together. Though I don't see all 12 of them here, it's a shame that they have not taken advantage of this opportunity created for them. Let me say a very big thank you to Dr. Latifatu Mohammed, who is the coordinator for the WICSMEP project of the Women in Chemistry Network, for working tirelessly so that our mentees will have the best experience of their lifetimes, with her monthly periodic check-ins on them and their mentors, and also with these are behind the scenes, and with the on-scene activities that we've had, starting with the writing workshop that was delivered by Professor Mrs. Mercy Bedu. And now we're looking at how we can translate our lab work into useful products on the market, ultimately helping us to put money in our pockets. The average human being exists to please God and to have money in their pocket, I think, to do the material things that we all desire. It is not wrong to desire those things as well. So on this note, I'd like to say welcome to this edition of the second workshop for the mentorship program. I appreciate all the facilitators who have graciously agreed to be part of this global movement, I call it, the global movement of change. Big things start small, so I have no doubt that this is going to blossom into something very, very big with a very huge impact on our country and beyond. We have mentees from outside Ghana as well, and our facilitators have also been strategically selected to represent global dimensions of issues. So thank you all for making time to join. I welcome you to this workshop, and I wish all of us the best of times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your welcome address. We will call on the coordinator to give us the welcome, the objectives of the workshop. Our coordinator is in the person of Dr. Latifatu Mohammed. She's a research scientist with the CSIR. She's focused in energy efficiency and management research, and she is the coordinator for the Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Programme. Dr. Latifatu, you are welcome to give us the objectives of this gathering.
Thank you very much, Afua. Good afternoon, Chairperson and Convener, Professor Marian, Nkansah, distinguished mentors, resource persons, members of the Women in Chemistry Network, and our dear mentees. It is a great pleasure to have you all today together for this important virtual workshop organized under the Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Programme. We'll begin by expressing our sincere appreciation to all our mentors who are working so hard in mentoring our mentees, and also the support for this program so far. Your willingness to share your knowledge, experiences, networks, and lessons learned in one of these lessons learned is the reason why this program exists. So the Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Program is one of the flagship initiatives of the Women in Chemistry Network. The program was established to provide structured mentorship and developmental support for women and girls in the chemical sciences. The goal is not simply to connect mentee with a mentor. We wanted to create relationships that support personal development, professional growth, confidence building, knowledge transfer, networking, leadership and career advancement. We recognize that having scientific knowledge is important, but knowledge alone does not always guarantee success. Young scientists also need guidance on how to navigate opportunities, communicate their ideas, build professional networks across funding, publish their work, develop leadership skills, and increasingly, how to translate their knowledge into solutions that can benefit society. This is why today's workshop is particularly important. Our team, From Classroom to Business, Turning Science Knowledge into Real Opportunities, challenges us to think beyond the traditional understanding of science education. When we study chemistry, chemical engineering, biochemistry, environmental science, or other scientific disciplines, we often think about examinations, how the the project will go, the laboratory works, the publications we always think about, and eventually finding employment if we are successful with our thesis or even our project. But um, we would like us to ask ourselves a different question. What else can we do with the knowledge we are acquiring? Can that knowledge solve a problem in our society or in our community? Can it become a product? Can it become a service? Can it become a company? Can it create employment for others or ourselves? Can our laboratory research become something that people are willing to pay for because it addresses a real need? These are some of the questions we have to answer, and I believe our answers will be yes. There are tremendous opportunities for scientists to become entrepreneurs and innovators. Chemistry, for example, provides opportunities in cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, food processing, water treatment, environmental management, agriculture, materials, renewable energy, waste management, and many others. The challenge is knowing how to move from the idea to an opportunity and from an opportunity to a sustainable business. That is what we hope to explore today. The workshop has been designed to give our mentees a practical understanding of the journey from scientific knowledge to business opportunity. By the end of today's program, we hope that you will be able to identify opportunity within our scientific knowledge and research. Do not look at your laboratory work alone as an academic requirement. Ask yourself, what problem am I solving? Who needs this solution? And how can I create value from it? Understand how a scientific idea can be developed into a viable business concept. Having an idea alone is the beginning. We need to understand customers, markets, production, pricing, quality, regulations, as well as branding and sustainability. We should also learn how to access funding and communicate our ideas to potential funders and investors. A good scientific idea may require financial resources to move from the laboratory to the market. Therefore, knowing how to identify funding opportunities and present a compelling proposal or pitch is essential. Now, we'll finally develop the confidence to communicate our ideas effectively. As scientists, we are trained to explain technical concepts, but when speaking to a customer, investor, or a policymaker, or even a business partner, we must be able to explain our ideas in language that they will understand. And that's why we will have one of our resources talk to us about that. We will also leave this workshop believing that entrepreneurship is a possible pathway for a scientist. You do not necessarily have to choose between being a scientist and being an entrepreneur. Your scientific knowledge can become the foundation for innovation and enterprise. I think one of the strengths of today's workshop is that we we have brought together speakers with practical experience from different stages of business journey. We will hear about business incubation and developing ideas, accessing funding, business pitching strategies, and turning scientific knowledge into actual products and businesses. We will encourage you to not to listen to these sessions simply as lectures. We ask you to listen for the lessons, listen for the mistakes, and learn for the opportunities. I would like you to leave here, especially our mentees, this workshop with at least one idea that you can develop further. It does not have to be a perfect business idea. It could be a simple observation from your laboratory, project work, classroom community, or workplace. Let's ask ourselves, what problem do I see? Can science help solve it? Who needs the solution? How can I turn the solution into something useful? And finally, how can I make it sustainable? Remember that some of the businesses we see today start with very simple observation and small ideas. Your first business may not be your biggest business. Your first product may not be your final product, but the journey begins here and now when you will decide to move from thinking to doing. I would like to thank our convener again, Professor Marian Nkansah, for her visionary leadership and continued support of the Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Programme. I also extend my heartfelt appreciation to all mentors, resource persons, and participants for their valuable contribution, active engagement, and commitment. Your presence and support made this workshop meaningful and impactful. Oh. I'd like to thank you all.
Thank you too. Please give Dr. Latifah a clap of thanks, love emojis, and all that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. For our first section, which is from science idea to business, we will have our lecturer, our enterprise researcher, Professor George Acheampong. Professor George Acheampong is a professor of entrepreneurship at the University of Ghana Business School. He is an enterprise lecturer and researcher with extensive knowledge of local economy issues in Ghana and across Africa. He specialized in business incubation, market-driven entrepreneurship, and sustainable agricultural food ventures. He is the founder of the University of Ghana Business School Innovation and Incubation Hub. Give him a clap, give him a clap. And he consults for various organizations, including the Ghana Enterprises Agency. His work basically bridges academia, industry, and policy to drive sustainable business development in Ghana and across the world. With a clap offering, let's welcome Professor George Acheampong. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much to Latifatu for giving me the opportunity and the rest of the organizers. I feel a bit out of place, but I think I'm going to get used to it. because I only have sisters. So it's a pleasure to be here. If I'm not sure if I'm able to share my screen, and if you are speaking to me, you are muted as well.
No, Prof, you can continue, please.
Okay, thank you. And forgive any noise in my background. Yeah, as usual, it's a Saturday, and so today I was asked to share around how do we convert scientific ideas, or from science ideas to businesses. I have a whole working program around this, trying to support institutions within the climate science area. But today we try to curate about some 13 issues that we can discuss. As Afua says, I work with the University of Ghana, and I spend some of my time at the Wits School of Business as well. So that's what I do. So I'm gonna just set the pace, and then afterwards you can ask me any questions that you would.
Well, before you you set your pace, somebody has a very wonderful information for you. He says,
Yes.
I think it's a she. She says, "Blessed are you among women."
I hope it's not Professor Agnes Budu. But if it is, then that's my mom. So I will take the blessings. Thank you, Ajagi. Yes. So you see, let me see if I can get this into slide mode. 1 second. View. Yeah. So I want us to start with a certain problem, right? Now, a lot of scientists start with the goal is to come up with a good discovery, something that the scientific community will be wowed by. But if it brings no economic value, then nobody cares. So sometimes, not even in the sciences alone or in chemistry alone, but whether it's in sociology, archaeology, heritage studies, linguistics, the question is, how do you get people to pay for what you have found? So that finding, that compound, that methodology, or that result, right, means nothing if it cannot be converted into a venture or a product that someone is willing to pay for. And for someone to be willing to pay for that service means that it has to present a certain value. So in between is the gap where most ideas fail, right? And having worked in this field for a couple of years, one of my key findings has been that the technical fields are happy with finding their finding or their compound or whatever they want to work with. They're excited by that. And the guys in the business school and sometimes econ think, look, we want something that can be paid for. And so the guys in econ and business school, they do not have a product. But the guys in the scientific fields have a product, but there is no connection. Right? So one of the things that we've pushed actively is something we call community colliders, where different fields collide over food and see how people can build knowledge that is useful, right? So the key thing is that it's not enough to have the discovery and it's not enough to have commercial knowledge. It both cannot come together, right? So that requires a certain reframing. And then I'd be lucky to work quite recently. I'm also working heavily with food scientists. And one of the things when I talk commerce is that people are not comfortable, but that's not the science. But then for me, I'm thinking minimum viable product. At what point is the customer not going to pay for any additional benefits I add to the product? So it's pure commerce. And our master equation is MC equal MR equal P. The marginal cost equals the marginal revenue must be equal to price. That's the master equation, and we are not willing to go beneath that, right? So that requires a certain reframing, right? So that scientists can explode. And that reframing, one of them is that a lot of scientists think that they need a bold, visionary idea. Right? And I've listened to some scientists say that they are talking about moonshots, which is interesting. It's great to have those moonshot ideas, but maybe everybody is going to think you are mad, right? So most successful ventures actually are ordinary and incremental, right? Because we call something the institutionalization of ideas. Ideas need to be based in a certain social structure and social fabric. It's like when you create a movie which is so complex that your social setting cannot understand, nobody's going to buy it, right? So it has to be incremental. It has to be ordinary, right? Not a single flash of genius or huge flash of genius. And that's why if you observe, people who come up with very brilliant ideas have not necessarily been able to commercialize. You hear things like, this guy was born ahead of his time. This is where it happens. So sometimes it has to be that incremental growth. The next thing you hear is, and this is not just scientists, but most people, when you talk to young people, everybody who is dreaming of coming into enterprise, they think that they need to be an extreme risk taker. But I want to go with this fundamental axiom. What is the greatest risk that anybody will take? The greatest risk anybody will take is to live. The fact that you are alive is the greatest risk, because the greatest risk or the worst outcome anybody can have is to die. Because the three people say, "Ooh, I never be to a trial. After death, there is nothing," right? So that framing is important. So what that means is that we all take risk in our daily lives. That favorite wachi that you eat every day, what's the guarantee that the woman who is making it doesn't also birth the son in that same pan that carries the food? We had the story of German wings. We had the Air India crash. For the guy in India, the guy stripped off the hinges. German wings, the guy locked out his co-pilot. What shows that the guy is not having any mental problem when you sit in the aircraft? When you sit in that trotro or Uber, what shows that the guy doesn't have epilepsy or something is going to crush you? When you eat from that fancy restaurant, you trust that the mechanisms are fair. So on a daily basis, we take some risks. But the thing is that we all manage risk, and so do entrepreneurs, but they don't chase risk. They face an uncertain future, but they do not chase risk. In fact, that's why a lot of entrepreneurs have been cited for paying bribes, because they do that to minimize the risk of failure, right? So here again, it's good to have the passion. It's good to be brave about your ideas, but methodology. We have something, and I'll share from my dad. Organization comes everything, right? So if you are organized and your methodology is great, you'll always overcome the risk. And then that tendency to think that entrepreneurs need to be a certain different kind of person, right? It's not true. Entrepreneurship is a skill that can be learned, right? And today I'm going to present you 3 of the fundamental principles we work with that can turn anybody into a good entrepreneur. I'm gonna show you something in evidence. It's an old data. It's about 26 years old, but it's as true as today. Right? How do businesses emerge and evolve? Look, this study was in 2000, but if you look at the data from Hannan and Freeman in 78, 84, all the way to the modern study some of us have conducted, the thing holds true. You do not necessarily need a finished business plan to start. People think that they have to come up with that great business model design. They have to come up with that great 30-page business plan that nobody cares anyway. Right? So the point is that rarely is any venture started with a polished business plan. Right? That the polished business plan you get is a function of who you become on the journey. So it's like when you write your thesis or when you go through that scientific process within your life, that process is the same thing. Just that this one is, if I can say, in a social environmental experimental setting, or maybe I don't want to say quasi experimental, but more of a social experiment. It's the same. It's an economic experiment that you run. So you start with the action first, a first customer conversation, a small trial test, a rough prototype. That's what you need, right? Because I have seen so many young people chasing a document rather than chasing a venture, right? So you build a business plan and you learn on that journey and you become a better businessman. And that's why there's a compounding effect to enterprising behavior, because the more and more you do it, you get better at the method, and so you can just replicate it severally. And so whether you are looking at Despite, quite recently, those in Kumasi, the late Kesman, and all those, the later larger Suma Banda, my own uncle Kama, all of them, you could see that towards the end, they replicated because they got the method. And once you have the methodology, the rest is easy peasy for you. So in thinking about creating a new venture, though, there are 2 dynamics that are at play: the causal logic and the entrepreneurial, the effectual logic. Right? Now, if you look at the causal logic makes a certain assumption. Since we are all ladies, I'm going to use cooking. Now, you want to make yourself dinner, right? There are 2 ways you can make yourself dinner. It's either you have the items, you decide what you want to eat. So I want to eat rice and tomato sauce with grilled chicken, right? So you buy the items and you make your rice, tomato sauce, and grilled chicken. However, it's possible that you do not have the resources, or you are undecided. So what you're going to do is that you are going to go into your cupboard, whatever is there, you prepare a meal with it. So the causal logic starts with that fixed goal of, I want to eat this. Then you gather the resources that are required to reach it. The challenge is that it works well when the future is predictable, when you are doing a typical large company planning, and again, when capital and data is upfront. However, the effectual logic represents the one that is often deployed. Because you can start with your needs. Then imagine what goals become possible from the resources that you have. And so you will find that this effectual logic works well under genuine uncertainty. And that's what most expert entrepreneurs actually operate early on, right? So usually when you are starting a new enterprise, we advise that you start with the effectual logic because resources are scarce, capacity is scarce, institutional support is scarce. Because think about it, if I'm the Ministry of Trade and Industry and you are an untested entrepreneur and I have to deal with Despite, I'll go with Despite any day because he's proven, right? So under that guise or that environmental uncertainty, the effectual logic helps. But immediately you begin to gain some stability, then you switch to the causal logic. So it's not about which one is right or wrong, but it's a sequential uh, dynamic that is observed from there. So let's start with the three principles that I mentioned I was going to talk about. And one of the principles is to start with your means. Often you see a lot of people wanting to get resources from other people. So you ask them, why haven't you started? I don't have money. I don't have machine. I don't have space. Clearly, then there is a problem somewhere, right? There are three fundamental things that you own as researchers or scientists. The first thing is who you are. And we call this in enterprise studies the unbeatable competition, right? So who are you as a person? Here, the emphasis is on your training, your curiosity, your tolerance for a failed experiment, and your values. Now, these are dedicated to specific individuals, and you cannot have two or more people having the same dynamic. You are special. Your histories, your imprints, they are special to you. And so the way you do things would vary from everybody else. The second one is what do I know? Which is your research, your technical expertise, your data, right? Your methods and your lab access. These are all knowledge stock, right? That can also help you to build your enterprise. And then the third one is your network, your co-authors, your collaborators, your industry contacts, and past employers. Now, if you try to build any enterprise out of these, you're going to fail. Because what it is that you are going to try and pick up new skills that take time. Right? And so, and the data is there to prove it. Many people have tried. They've heard that in this business there's a lot of money. They've heard that these people are making money from this idea, and so they jump in. But it's not a fit to who they are. It's not a fit to their learning, and it's not a fit to their network structures. Right? If you say no to all of this, and yet you want to start a business in that, then you're going to have a problem. Right. So your means are important. And the things with starting with your means is that resource constraints then become a zero, basically, because it has no effect because you are starting with resources that you already possess. So I'm going to pause here and I want you to type in the chat what you and map your means, or you can write it on a note somewhere. One skill from your research that transfers to a product or a service, one person in your network who could open a door for you, and one resource you already have, equipment, data, lab access that can help you create a business. I would love to hear what your thoughts are in the chat briefly before we proceed. So I'm on standby. I'll wait to read your thoughts.
Hello, Prof. Please, you are muted.
Yes, if I've asked that we conduct this 2-minute assignment on the screen or exercise.
Ok. Oui, à l'entrée, il est vu aussi. Mais ça, là, à un moment, il le voyait, tu vois, le marché de Habitat, la gamme, là.
Thank you, Gloria. I see yours. Skill formulation and method development person, my big sister, equipment mixing machine. Chris Briner, cosmetic production, my mentor, and data access. Okay, so let's wait for a few more people to chip in. So as can be seen, we all possess a resource that we can deploy to start our business. So that's the essence of this resource. That look, we have enough to start business, and I saw a lot of people doing things around water, right? But the interesting thing is that all of us, our networks are um, are secular. We didn't know. I can't observe people who are moving out So it's my mentor, so it's always somebody also in the field. Talking about a classmate, a friend who turned into politics, a GSS acquaintance, a church choir member, or someone who is different. Because one of the things about networking is that strong ties do not create value as much as weak ties. Right, so those friends you do not see regularly, they bring some impetus, some push, some drive into what you do. That's different from what you would typically spot from there. Right. The second principle is affordable loss. Now, for those who speak Twi in this room, if they trip or something, secure we are hurry and play guy. Start when you play Russian roulette and you don't want to bet all your money, you bet, and then you have a cap of what you are willing to lose. If you lose, then you walk away. If you win some more, you take your initial bet and bet your winnings and see if you make some progress on that, right? So affordable loss is not just about making big bets, right? It's about what is the smallest and cheapest step to test or learn whether this works, right? That's the fundamental question that is being asked here. Right? So risk what you can afford to lose. A weekend, a small grant, one pilot partner, not what you hope to gain. So one of the things about affordable loss is that you are looking at the baseline point. So it's about cost reduction rather than return on investment. Right? And that speaks to the fundamental logic around whether you are running a causal or an effectual logic. Because the effectual logic, if you are a manager, you want to impress your boss. And so you want to give him a good ROI, return on the investment, right? Because it's the ROI that will push shareholders to put other investors to put money in your business. But if you're a founder that is starting out, to build your business, you do not have that luxury. Credibility is low. So one of the least things you want to do is to carry on too much cost that you risk losing if things do not work. Right. So it's very essential that you manage that affordable loss threshold so that you do not go. And I've seen so many people, they believe in this idea so much, they bet everything. Right? They bet everything. And we've seen how it's gone. Some have lost their family, some have lost livelihoods because they overbelieved. We are not saying don't believe, believe, but go incremental. As they say, Rome was not built in a day. The third principle, right? Contingency, surprises. Treat surprises as full, not failure. Right? So if you look at the story of post-it notes, where the chemist was trying to create a super adhesive, a super strong adhesive, right? It was so weak, but it found its own value, right? 6 years later, it found its own value. So it's essential for us not to give up, but ask ourselves, what can people use our product for? Right? And at this point, I'm going to type something in the chat and I want all of us to Google it. It's called the pet rock. Google it and let's have a quick talk about this. Please, if my time is up, is getting close, and you notify me. But check pet rock and then let's have a discussion. If anybody sees it, you can read it for us.
Okay, so pet rock was a massive 1970s novelty fad conceived by California advertising executive Gary Dell in 1975. So the product
Continue
was
reading for us.
successful. The rock itself was inexpensive, but the product was a success due to its brilliant packaging design and comic copywriting. So the customer pet carrier, each rock carried in a cardboard box constructed like a live animal carrier, complete with die-cut ventilation holes and a bed of straw. The package included a humorous 32-page booklet titled The Care and Training of Your Pet Rock, filled with jokes, tricks, and commands. Owners were instructed on how to teach their rock commands like sit, stand, which the rock mastered instantly. This is trickiest commands.
Thank you. So now I want to ask the house, would you buy a rock as a pet? Even for $2? Just give me an emoji.
No, I won't buy.
But you will not buy it, right?
Yes, I want to buy that.
The point I'm trying to make with this is that the concept of a terrible product is because people bought 1 million copies of it,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy became a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
If Spencer Silver, his weak adhesive, right, art fry converted into bookmarks or post-it notes within his book, and others started using it in the company. Prior to that, nobody would have bought it, right? So that's what I'm saying, that scientists, usually you guys are trained to notice anomalies, right? And treat those anomalies. But for entrepreneurs, anomalies are great for us.
All right.
Because we treat it as a...
Kindly summarize for us.
Yes, I'll summarize. Entrepreneurs, we treat those things as an advantage and we convert that into results. So that unexpected result or data, the question is, who else has that problem? And how can I fix that problem for those other people as well? So I'm going to give you something to take home. In the next 30 days, this is your take home. Talk to 5 potential users about a problem. Take one small step, a small grant application or a single pilot partner to work with. Build a 3-person circle, which comprises a scientist, a business person, and a customer. And then also speak to an IP team before you disclose anything. I've talked about the objections. I don't have money. I might fail. You can feel small, and that's why the affordable loss concept is there. I'll share my slides with Latifatu, and then you can have that. You can reach out to me anytime you want, and I'm happy to engage. Thank you very much. And over back to you, Afua.
Thank you so much, Prof. We have learned a lot. We are going to make the bold step of putting our ideas into use, not overthinking it, and not really thinking that as scientists we are not entrepreneurs, but we can start small, and we will also try to run our product or our final product with the consumer, that's people around us, scientists and business persons, to know how our idea and our product will be accepted for the market. Thank you so much for this presentation.
Thank you for the opportunity once more.
Welcome, Prof. We will go to the next session and then we'll do our Q&As at the end. So, Prof, if you could kindly stay with us. Because of time, we would like to do it and then do the Q&A at the end. I know that our dear mentees and mentors, including myself, we have a lot of questions on how we could finally bring all the ideas in our head into tangible products for a consumer. Our second session is about funding our business. And with funding our business, the one to give us the this lecture or this teaching is Miss Sylvia Fafali Orou. Miss Sylvia is a chemist, an entrepreneur, and a CEO. She is an SME business coach, trainer, and mentor. She has been helping others grow their businesses. She is a lead formulator and a climate activist. Her company has participated in Business First, and she has utilized government skills to develop government development funds to train her staff and demonstrate her commitment to business development and capacity building. Miss Fafali, your people, my people, your business coach. Give her a clap. Give her a clap. Good, good, good. I want to see the emojis. Emojis, emojis, emojis.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Afua. Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. It's such an honor to be with all of you this afternoon. It's been quite a tight day for me, but I am so excited to be here. Now tell me, Afua, how many minutes do I have? I know Professor Acheampong stole into my time. So how many minutes do I have? So we can hear you, Afua.
You have 30 minutes.
30.
I actually made Prof to it into your time because we were waiting for our mentees. We kind of shifted 10 minutes late, so it kind of carry on. I didn't want to just steal his time like that.
All right, thank
so
you so
sorry
much
for that. So you have extra 10 minutes.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I would like to share my screen because I'll be doing a presentation.
Kindly go to share.
Okay, I can go ahead now.
Yes,
all right.
Please.
Okay, yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, again. My name is Sylvia, just like Afua said. I also like to be called Fafali. And today we're going to be treating this very sensitive topic because a lot of idea starters or business starters and entrepreneurs like myself always look out for how we can get funding to invest into our businesses, because sometimes the money we've bootstrapped to start the business is not normally enough to keep us going. And so definitely we need some form of funding along the way. Now, before you look for funding, you would want to ask yourself a question like this: is my business or idea worth funding? And before I even continue, of course, I've seen a number of the ladies dropped in what their business idea it is. So I'll take it up from there. I understand a number of people want to go into herpes extension sales. Some also want to go into, a number of them want to go into cosmetic or skincare. That is good. But then funding does just not start with finding money. It starts with building a business, a solution, or an innovation that is worth investing in. So the real question is, where can I get money for my business? The real question rather is not where can I get money for my business, but rather what can I do to make my business fundable? And in order to make your business fundable, you want to look at what problems you're solving. Is the problem real and significant in the world you find ourselves in your vicinity, your community, or the country at large? Who really needs my solution? Is there evidence that people actually want this solution? And what is going to make my solution different from others already existing? And things like that. And another question we want to ask ourselves, that a lot of young people who want to start a business starts with an idea, of course. But then even if you want funding for your idea, which is possible, very possible, a lot of people have gotten money for just an idea stage, at the idea stage. You want to ask yourself that, what evidence is it that my idea is going to work? So we also need to remember that funders do not necessarily just want to fund. They want to find potential in whatever they're funding. They want execution and they want impact. Along the line, we'll get to know the kind of fundings available, equity, grants, and people need to know that their money is working because they want to see it roll over into much more. So how do I make my business or idea fundable? Let's find out. Now, I want to start with myself because once people have a real life experience, then probably they can glean more from it. I started my business during the pandemic, and was it difficult for me? I started with just limited resources, just like many entrepreneurs. But then I quickly realized that I needed more resources to keep my business going forward, or to probably, let's say, take it to the next level. So my first experience in getting funding, sorry, I just want to reduce this. Okay, good. So my first experience with getting funding was through NBSSI. NBSSI is the National Board for Small Scale Industries. And along the line, you'll get to know why it's important to be members of certain association networks. And at that time, I was actually looking out for loans because they were giving out loans to support businesses. So that means I would need to pay back. Indeed, I applied and I successfully received the loan. This gave me my first practical experience of using external finances to grow my business. However, I thought that just having a good product was enough to be able to help me land funding, but that was just not it at all. When I started pursuing subsequent funding opportunities, I realized that getting funding requires much more because it can be very competitive. Having a unique idea, having actual products, or even running a business does not necessarily qualify you to have a grant, to have funding. So I came to understand that funders want evidence of viability. They want to know if your business is going to grow, if there's going to be some form of returns, like I said earlier on, and if there's going to be impact borne out from the funding they're going to give you. So subsequently, as I moved up, I needed to show evidence through my financial records and performance, my sales revenue history. Indeed, if there was market demand for the product I was making, how much was my customer base, or how many was my customer base, what was my growth strategy, and then do I have clear use of fund and do I have projection? Now, having financial trajectory is very important in trying to get funding for your business. In my case, because they wanted to know where the business is today, if it's going to survive in the next 2 to 3 years, and what will the funding enable us achieve at the end of the day. So the question is not simply how much money do I need, actually, is how do I want to execute the money that I was going to be given. So in all entirety, I realized that I did not have to wait for a funding opportunity before I get ready. We can already start getting ready with all that we need to do so that when the time comes, we should be able to strike hard. That is why they said we should be ready when opportunity knocks at our door. Now, there have been a number of common mistakes a lot of people have done when it comes to funding. But before we move on to this topic about common mistakes in funding applications, has anybody ever pitched an idea before? How do I see? Has any one of us ever pitched an idea before in an attempt to get some form of funding? Maybe you can just give me a reaction, or maybe probably type it out in the chat. I should be able to see it. I'm trying to see where I can get the information, where I can see your reactions. Okay. Okay, nothing as of yet. Okay. Moving on. Common mistake. When we look at this slide in front of us, which mistake do you think is most common in trying to apply for funding opportunities? Number 1 says waiting for the opportunity before we are ready, leading with signs and not the problem, or not clear acts. Or before we even do that, let me first of all break it down for all of us to understand. Of course, like I said in the previous slide, we do not want to wait for the opportunity to come before we are ready. We want to start already putting our books in order before a funding opportunity comes, so that when it does come, we are ever ready to apply for it. And we know convincingly that we should be able to make it to some extent because of how prepared we are. Number 2, leading with science and not the problem. I mean, as scientists, we are enthused with our innovation, but funders, and I repeat, funders are more enthused about the returns of their money, depending on the kind of funding you get. Funders are also looking at the impact their money is going to make. They are for the numbers. So you may have a genius innovation, you may have a genius scientific application to your business which you want to start, but a funder would want to look at how it's going to affect the people, the greater number of people, how he's going to make his money, and the impact that business his funding is going to make. Now, another third mistake that most people make is that they do not have a clear ask on what they want. You see, in most funding proposal writing, there's an amount you can ask for. But then people just say we need support to grow. Even when they are doing an elevator pitch, I know you're going to learn something on pitching. You're doing an elevator pitch, you need to be exact as to exactly what you want, because we need support to grow our business is just not enough. You need to be specific on the amount you need and then the specific use of the money you are asking for. Number 4 is ignoring the fit between funder and business. Applying to every open call rather than researching what a specific funder actually finances was going to waste your time. You need to know if what you're applying for really sits with your business idea, if what you're applying for sits with what you're already doing as a business owner, so that you do not waste the time of both the funder and yourself, because you need to look for money. Now, weakness or missing financials. Please, when applying for funding opportunities, you need to know your financial numbers. That is one of the things I fell prey to in the earlier stages, because I felt that once they see that, okay, we are making this amount of sales, then we are making profit. No, it doesn't work out that way. The number of sales you're making doesn't mean you're making profits. Or should I say the income you're making or you're getting in doesn't mean that you are making profits. So you need to know the numbers well so that you should be able to defend well. Moving on to the next point, you need to stop underestimating team section. And why I say this is a lot of people think that they can do things by their own. Even if you have that skill, if you have that expertise, maybe you have an accounting background, you have a customer care background, or you have a marketing background, you need to have a team you're working with, because you can't do everything on your own. And funders, should I say, look out for how strong your team is. You want to show them that you all have the competence. You have the scientific backing, but you also have the people taking care of other areas like your administration, your finance, the marketing aspect, the sales aspect. You need to stop underestimating the power of team action. The 7th one is not showing traction or evidence. Okay, now this is very sad, because people need to be able to show that their business is actually doing well or is going to do well, even if it's just an idea stage. And when I say an idea stage, people may wonder, oh, it's just an idea, but I know it's going to work. Okay, how do we know it's going to work? You have that conviction within you. And it's good because it's your business, it's your baby. And you know, of course, everybody wants positivity. Everybody is optimistic about their ideas. But then to whoever you're applying to, they need to know, they need to understand how you feel inside. And understanding, they want to see numbers, they want to see some kind of evidence. So somebody will be like, with my idea, what do I do? Have you done a piloting? Have you done some form of market research to show that indeed my business can fly? Do you have maybe, let's say, a waiting list to say, okay, this number of people actually are waiting for the launch of my product. Or probably this number of people are waiting to the extent that they've actually made part payment to see this business materialize. So it goes to show or tell the funder that indeed your business has traction. And then there's also one last thing too. Yes, you can also have small pilots. You can also have small pilots on your business idea to see if it's going to be feasible or fly. 8 is copy-paste application. What I'm trying to say here is that every application is unique to the other. And so you need to tailor your application based on what the funder is looking for from the business. So it's not a copy and paste affair. What you've applied for A, you copy paste the same thing for B. You'll be wasting your time and that of the funder's time as well, because they have to read through your application and you'll be wasting their time. Poor storytelling around the impact. Now, already existing businesses need to know how to convey the impact their business are already making. And most often than not, we are slow in explaining to funders how much impact our business are making. So just recently, there was an opportunity for the youth 35 and below. And I mean, there were a few people who were beyond 35 and they were worried as to why that opportunity was not reaching them. So they extended or the age range to 35 to 40. Now, these 40 years old are supposed to make sure that they are creating impact or they are employing the youth. And employing the youth means that you have to probably give them a permanent position or a part-time position at work, and maybe you may not need so much youth to work with. But then the idea is that anybody that comes to work for you, you can take their details. I just needed to understand this point here. Take their details and then write that, okay, this carpenter came to work for me and he was age 34. Okay, this plumber also came to do some work for me. He was age 25 or 26. And then when you accumulate all of these numbers, it shows the impact you are already making, because a lot of funding application require that you are already kind of engaging with the youth or employing the youth at some point. And that record or that data is going to prove a point for you, showing that indeed whatever you're doing has impact on the youth, so to say. Now, for the third point, the 10th point is missing compliance and documentation basis. This is very important because many people fail to register their business early. I know there may be other people joining us from other countries, but in Ghana, you can go to the office of the Registrar of Companies to get a company register. That is one step alone you can take. Even if it's just an idea stage, you can still go ahead and then put your name in or put an application to register the business. And you can have something to show that indeed you are making some kind of effort on your side. There are already businesses existing. You would want to show if you're complying with the FDA certification. So I remember Gloria said she wanted to go into skincare. Along the line, have you tried to inquire what it requires from you to get an FDA license to operate? What it would take to get an FDA certification for your business? These are some of the things you need to start working on now, so that when the application does come, the process will be seamless for you. Now, last but not the least is giving up after one rejection. We have absolutely no right to give up when we do not win some funding application we submitted. And one thing we need to do is that we need to also ask for feedback. Ask for feedback to know what happened to my application. Probably, where did I go wrong? And you'll be amazed that some of them do have time to get back to you. I know many do not, because they receive tons of applications. But if you can still go ahead to send them a response to ask probably what went wrong in your application, so that you can learn from it and then try again another time. Now, we want to go to the next slide. How to find and access the right funding opportunities. We need to know that there are local and international funding opportunities. But before we delve into the funding opportunities that are available in Ghana and beyond, we want to know the types of funding available in the system. And I've just narrowed it down to about 4 so that we don't get our mind all scattered. We have grants. That is one of my favorites. Now, the advantages about grant is that there's no equity to give up. One of the disadvantages is that it's highly competitive. So you can get grant opportunities from international organizations like the GIZ, UNDP, FAO, UNEP, and even some non-NGO programs too. Another interesting funding avenue is equity investment. And so there you can get it from angel investors, venture capitals, and impact investors. Venture capitalists are looking to have some portion of your business. Now, the good thing about of course, that is the disadvantage about it. But the good thing about equity investment is that you get a huge number. You get a lot of money. You can get a lot of money, but then they'll have to take some ownership of your business. And one very sad thing is that you may end up losing your own business, your own idea, your baby that you started. So we need to tread cautiously when we want to go into equity investments. Make sure there's a lot of paperwork that goes into it. So you need to make sure that you want to do that. We don't want to delve into that now. But then one other funding opportunities which I like most and I've done a number of times is loan. Now, women are particularly fortunate in this time of our lives because you have a lot of international bodies like MasterCard Foundation rolling out a lot of money, but then for women 35 and below. But then there are also other funding opportunities that fund business owners that are age 35 and above. And with the loans now for women, you get as little as 10% interest per annum. And that is not bad at all. I mean, sometimes some organization give you 1 year moratorium, and money moratorium is like, okay, they've given you this money, you are just about starting to use it, so they can start taking the interest immediately. So they give you 1 year to use that money to operate. Then in the second year, you start paying up your debts. So it's not a bad option too. And then we also have accelerator programs that comes with money. So some of these business plan competition, I must tell you, is that you don't even need physical cash sometimes. There are funding opportunities that go into training you into becoming a better entrepreneur. And we'll see more into that as we go. Now, next is local international funding opportunities. Yeah, we need to understand the stage at which our business is to be able to know the kind of grants we go in for. The inception, the startup, the growth, expansion, and maturity. Many of us here are in between inception, startup, and then growth. So if you understand where you are in this scale, should I say, or in this diagram, then you know the kind of funding opportunity you could apply for, so you don't waste your time. So, I mean, there are some funding opportunities that are strictly for ideas. I did a project with UNDP, and there was something called YAI, the Young Africa Innovates. They were looking for innovative ideas. You don't have to have started at all. Just an innovative idea is good. And they were giving out so much money. They were giving as 5,000 at the first stage, 25,000 at the second stage, and then $100,000 at the third stage. So you need to know where you fit in order to be able to maximize the opportunity you're going to get from that funding opportunity. You position yourself well. Another area in our business we need to look out for when applying for loans, sorry, not loans, funding, is that we need to know the size of our businesses. Are we, for already existing entrepreneurs, are we micro businesses that have between 1 to 9 employees? I am a member of
Miss
the...
Fafali,
Yes?
the time, please.
The time?
Yes, please.
Is it time already? Ooh.
Last time.
Okay, I'm going to be super fast because we still have a few more slides to go. Apart from that, we need to know the size of our businesses. If we are micro, medium, so micro, small, medium, or large. I know many of us find ourselves between micro and small. Great. Now, funding opportunity links. Sometimes it's very difficult to know how to find opportunities, but sometimes what I look out for is what I'm doing. If I'm into cosmetic, I'm into skincare. I can Google skincare grants or skincare funding opportunities, startup grants if you're a startup, or idea grants, climate innovation grants, things like that. Those are the keywords we want to use when we are searching for. Now, join acceleration or incubation programs. Like I was saying, sometimes you don't need the physical cash, but you just need that investment in training yourself how to become a better business entrepreneur. We have, of course, we have organizational grants such as the World Bank, the World Bank, UN, MasterCard Foundation, other funding institutions. Then we also have the universities and research funding like Nkansah and then WICSMEP University. Moving on, these are some funding opportunities. It's clearly written. You'll be having the slides, so you can go through it and see which one. These ones are currently running. Some of them may have passed already, so they always roll every year, so you can go through them. Now, what funders are looking for? What funders are looking for? I think I had a question here, but let me be fast. Funders are looking for the problem, if there is a real need for that solution to that problem that you say you have. If there's a market for it, is your business model something that can make money? Your financials, are they performing well? Like I said, income doesn't mean profit. The use of the funds, how are you going to use the funds you are asking for them to achieve what you want to achieve? Can your team execute efficiently? Growth, impact, and sustainability. Now, mind you, there are some funding opportunities that are looking for sustainability. They're looking for impact. So you want to make sure that you can work around your business idea or your current businesses to be able to suit that grant. I think I'll talk about it less. Yes, building a compelling application from. Now, since we already know what funders are looking for, these are some salient areas to me, which I think we lose track of. We need to be honest in our applications. If you know that there are some kind of risk in our business idea, probably there are technical risk there, you need to clearly state it. If you know that there are some kind of any kind of risks available, please clearly state it. Regulatory risks, malfunction, clearly state it. There, you tell them that we have identified X as a key risk in our business idea, but then this is how we intend to mitigate it. It will demonstrate that you are good business people and you have maturity. Number 2 is making your funding request extremely specific. So I have putting out here that if you're asking for X amount of money, you need to break it down. I'm going to use this amount for equipment, this amount for raw materials, for testing. You need to be exact at how you want to use the money and what are the expected results you're going to get. So the funder should be able to trace his money and make sure that there are measurable outcomes. Now, a third one is build continuing, is that show evidence that it works even when it's just an idea state. I talked about it earlier. Piloting, having a waiting list, and things like that will make your application more credible for funding. Show them why you are your team and you are the right person, and make sure you have done your thorough market research and know that indeed Kumasi Kijeta, they really need my innovation because you have done that research, that groundwork already. Now, using research and innovation to attract funding, do not limit yourself to one business sector. I find myself in the cosmetic space, and I say I also can find myself in the agro processing because guess what? I use shea butter and cocoa butter. So I don't limit myself to funding opportunities just within probably manufacturing. No, I also go into agro processing because I use shea butter and I use cocoa butter. So please do not limit your business to just one sector. Then you are free to reconceptualize your business around the problems you are solving. So you can incorporate circular economy in your business and apply for circular economy funding opportunities, environmental sustainability, upcycling, value addition. Upcycling, we use peels in making our soaps and our scrubs. So why not? You need to open up your mind and know where you can actually reposition your business to be able to get more funding. So these are lessons I've learned, of course, like I said, how I incorporated all of these things to be able to stay relevant in the industry, because a lot of funders are looking out for that now. Building your funding, of course, building your funding readiness. You need to have good networks, association, and certification. So like I said yes. Hello.
The time is really timing.
I know, right? Okay, let me see.
I know you have a lot to share with us.
Yes, and I'm almost done.
Okay.
Yes, I'm almost done. We need to make sure we find ourselves with good networks, association, of course, like the Women in Chemistry Network, the Ghana Enterprises Agencies. These ones are the ones, and the reason why I say this is because there's already established credibility within that organization. So a lot of grant funding opportunities can be passed through that organization. Of course, you need to connect with business development support organizations. We have hubs in around us. There are business development services that can help you to become business entrepreneurs. Then, of course, get your business and products properly certified. Like I said, register with the Office of the Registrar of Companies, FDA. If you know you have to do something, start making all of this research now, which you can even show to them in your application that you are actually working on, not that you are not doing anything. So the big lesson for me is that I've learned that being fundable is different from simply having a good business idea. A funder is not only investing in your idea, they're investing in your ability to execute the idea and create measurable results. Now, this is for you. Fundable. Are you fundable? So you can read this. It's all what we talked about, all in a nutshell. And of course, I wanted us to do this, but not anymore. And thank you. If I'm done. This is what I'm talking about.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Fafali. Miss Fafali.
Yeah, Miss Fafali.
We will do our market research and we won't limit our product or our business to only one sector. But if I am into plants, I wouldn't only talk about maybe turning it into a tea, but I also talk about doing afforestation sort of to plant more plants. So if I see a call for more plants, I can put in there for afforestation, since I'll need a plant to also do my tea for the market. Thank you so much for the ideas that you shared with us, and we are going to put them into practice. With question and answers, we'll go ahead with our next two sections and have our Q&A after. So my dear participants, please hold on to your questions, keep writing them down, and after we are going to have that. Our next session is Pitch to Learn, and this is being given to us by Miss Doreen Mlodzik. Oh, wow, it's a German name. Sorry, I'm now doing my German lessons. She is Miss Mlodzik is a setup expert and a consultant at Host, which is Hochschule Strandau in Germany. She works within the university, and she's also an agent for the Cross University Setup Agency. She's actively involved in supporting entrepreneurs, particularly through programs which aim to encourage more women to pursue their business ideas. Her role focuses on providing strategic support and coaching for business pitching and development. Hello, Ms. Doreen. You are welcome. Kindly help me with your last name.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction and also for the invitation for today's conference. And well, I'm Doreen and I'm working in the startup service at the University of Applied Science in Stralsund. It's in the very north of Germany, so it's a little bit cold here. And yeah, I had the pleasure to get to know Latifatu 2 weeks ago, and she invited me for today. So she's a very smart and warm-hearted woman. And well, I do support the students and also colleagues at the university in startup questions. And I also have a group of young women I can support. They get a scholarship, a financial, and in coaching and teaching, in entrepreneurial issues. So today I have the pleasure to do some pitch and storytelling insights with you. And what are the learning goals for today? It's like to get to know the relevant structure of a pitch and learn about how to pitch and well, to build a little pitch for your own, but you can really make the practice for your own. So we don't force you to present of the whole group, but I will give you an example where somebody presents a pitch. So maybe you have a little inspiration. So let's start with the pitching. So the Cambridge Dictionary says that a pitch is a short but effective explanation that is intended to persuade someone to buy a product or to accept an idea. So in total, it is to win new customers, investors, or other supporters for your ideas. So I think it's also important to say it don't have to be always a hard business idea, a finished business idea. It can also be a first idea, a solution of a research, solution of a problem when you walk to work, to university. So it's just about an idea. You have to present and to make it understandable for the person you are talking with, because sometimes ideas are very big and the difficulty is to explain it short and easy, like for a kid, for example. So let's talk about the steps of a pitch. We have 7 steps prepared, and let's have a look at the first step when you work on a pitch. So first of all, there's always a problem. So come up with one sentence what the problem is you want to solve. So secondly, there's a target group. Who is this person for who you are the problem solving? So you could say the target group is everybody, but actually the target group might be a little group, and make it as specific as possible to formulate the target group. Thirdly, present your solution. Explain your idea, explain the product, and tell how it works. Make sure to define a good problem solution fit, means those aspects should really work well together. Make sure your solution answers the problem. Keep your explanation short and simple, especially with technical solution. It's tempting to the deep dive into technical insights, but don't do this. People will ask questions if they have questions. This is a pitch. You want to keep the attention, make it as simple as possible. Don't go into deep text. Make it really smart and easy. Fourthly, the user experience. You can show, for example, a prototype. You can show a video. You can show construction. You can show a painting, you can show it with your hands, make the user experience. The next step is to create trust. So show that you are the expert or that you have the experts around you. Explain the product and tell how it works. And show that you have a good network. That you have people in the team, that you have, for example, economic knowledge, that you have engineering knowledge, that you can get the knowledge. So why is your team a great fit? Show that you know the market, that you know the competitors. Show that you have a financial plan, so you can create trust. The sixth step is the punchline. So you make a little wrap up, you make a reminder, you get the punchline in one sentence, tell the name of the product and what it does. So keep it short and simple for everybody to remember. And the last step is the call to action. So include always a call to action, a little assignment for your audience. Make a little bit of difference about who your audience is. Is it an investor? Is it a customer? Is it a student group? Is it the university? Is it a colleague? But always make a call to action. For example, to come over and ask, are there questions? To come up with a call like, do you want to invest in our beta version? Or do you want to sign up in our newsletter? So always come up with a call to action. And make sure who is your audience. So actually, it sounds very simple. That are the 7 steps. The difficulty is to make it short and understandable for everybody. And it's also very important that you really get your audience, that you touch them by heart, that you really make them feel that the user needs the product. So now you have all the 7 steps in mind how you build a pitch. It's time to think about a good story, about a good anecdote, which introduces your pitch. So show really who is the target group of the problem. Make sure the audience can feel the pain and the affected persons. So you will see it when I send a link to you, where one person pitches a product and he really makes you feel with the target group. So I think it will get a little bit clearer by looking this example. Well, and especially as a scientist, it's embedding of emotions and surprises might really feel weird, because you have to leave out quite a lot of facts that you would usually include in a presentation, like hard facts. But once again, the aim is to get the attention, the aim is to keep the attention and the interest of the audience. So it's important to find your own style when presenting and practice the pitch and try to connect with the audience. Why to tell story? Because they draw us in emotionally, because we can learn from them, because they connect with us, because it's easier this way for our brain to understand the connections, and because they help us to remember. So I think if you worked out your pitch, you really have to get a storyline that fits to you. You really have to find the words that are understandable but are still fitting to you, that it's really authentic, and that it's not like that you read something or the audience have to feel it, that you feel it. So I'm sure it's working out like this, because if you have an idea, it's a hard project, so a project of your heart. And it's important that the audience can feel it. So actually, I want to do a little exercise with you. You can do it by your own. I think I rushed a little bit to the presentation. Maybe I want to get out the time. So you will have to chance to work on a 2-minute pitch on your own. And you can do it now, and I will explain the task, but you don't need to present the pitch. I would kindly ask you if you could think about an idea you already have, or if you don't have any idea you would like to pitch, you could also take any random thing around you, for example, a pen or a book or a cup or something. Yeah. Or you already have an idea. I know that there are persons here in the group that already have a business idea or a research idea, so you can also work on that. And then you will first please concentrate on the problem solution fit based on what we just learned. So this will build the foundation of your pitch. So what is the problem you are solving? What is the target group? What is the solution? How it works? And what is the call to action? So we break it down a little bit. And then if you could evaluate these things, you could think about a storyline. So based on the foundation, the problem solution fit, think about how to transport this in an emotional story. So what are the people you're really helping with this product, and make it tangible and reliable for the audience. So I worked out a working sheet for you, so you can stay in the main room. You can prepare for yourself a little pitch with the problem solution fit and the emotional storyline. So we will have a time of 5 minutes. And this is the working sheet, and I will stop the time, and after 5 minutes we will be back, and maybe 1 or 2 person could share their experience, if this framework helped a little bit, if you could work on it. You don't have to present a pitch. And and if there are further questions, of course you can ask them, but we will write them down and ask them at the end. So now you have 5 minutes. I will stop the time. Now it's 6. Oh, in Germany it's 6. It's 4 at your place, and 5 minutes after 4. So the worksheet should be finished. Are there any questions right now? No. Yeah. 1. No. Okay, the 5 minutes are over. And yeah, if you would have, or if you would be so nice and maybe write a little feedback in the chat if you could work with the framework, or maybe not, or if you would need more help, or how was your experience. And of course you can talk in the group as well if you don't write in the chat. I put the framework in the chat so you could also continue it this tonight after the conference. Okay. Okay. So one new message. The framework was helpful. Thank you. Okay. So thank you. Okay, so we have some little feedback that the framework was helpful and it helped to streamline the thinking and the writing process. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you have any question to the terms of pitch or storytelling, of course you can contact me, and of course you can ask the question after the sessions. And I also wanted to show you a pitch at the end of my presentation. So I hope it will work with sharing the screen. Then we will have a look on the pitch, on a 2-minute pitch, and with this we come also to the end. Maybe somebody can make a thumb above when you can hear it well, the technical side.
Breaking the wall of deaf-blind isolation. Tom Beeling, Design Research Lab, Berlin.
Imagine you were all unable to see and unable to hear at the same time. How would you communicate? Where would you get your information from? How would we stay in touch? This is a project about deaf-blindness and about overcoming the barrier of social isolation. As you can imagine, people who are deaf-blind do not have many people to talk to. Communication with the outside world is difficult and is often hardly possible. A common way of communication used by the deaf-blind is a tactile hand-touch alphabet called LORN, in which the characters are assigned to a certain area of the hand. So it basically works by touching each other. Conversation partners have to be familiar with that language, and physical contact is necessary. So these preconditions still often lead to social isolation of the deaf-blind. Now, together with my lovely team at the Design Research Lab, we've been developing a LORM glove, which translates the LORM alphabet into digital text and vice versa. It uses fabric pressure sensors, which allow the deaf-blind wearer to compose text messages that are transmitted to the receiver's smartphone or computer. And it uses small vibrating motors, which allow the deaf-blind wearer to perceive incoming messages through vibration. So in order to communicate with the deaf-blind person, actually touching the other person's hand is no longer the only way to do so. Now it really becomes possible to send and receive messages from one glove to another, or to a smartphone or computer, use different media channels such as text message or voice message, and it also becomes possible for deaf-blind people to get in touch with more than one person at the same time. We've also been developing a smartphone app and the so-called LORM hand, which is directly connected to social networks such as Facebook and Twitter. It's a prototype still, but it is already being used as a communication and learning tool in a couple of institutions. So all these devices help deafblind people to engage with a broader spectrum of people and gain access to a broader range of information, thus enhancing their independence. And there's a good chance that this might help to break the wall of deafblind isolation.
Okay, now you can see my mails. I didn't want this. So actually that was the finish of my presentation. I wanted to end with the pitch as inspiration, and maybe the framework can help you a little bit. And well, so that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the knowledge you've shared with us on how we pick business ideas to get the most out of whatever we are pitching for. Please keep the reactions coming. Thank you so much. So we move ahead with our fourth session. Which is from the laboratory to the market. And this will be given to us by Mrs. Gloria Akuamoah Boateng, my own royal. Mrs. Gloria is an entrepreneur and the CEO of Yaphe Hair Consult, Yaphe. She is a chemist and an environmental scientist by background, and she has transitioned into the business world as a hair consultant and wealth creation coach. She's also a public speaker and humanitarian. She has a strong focus on branding and building her business as a recognized name in the hair care industry. With a clap, let's welcome Mrs. Gloria Akuamoah Boateng.
Thank you very much, Afua, for that. Hello, I want to say a very good afternoon to everyone gathered here. And I want to say a big thank you to Prof. Marian Nkansah for this opportunity, and then her able coordinator and assistant, Dr. Latifatu Mohammed. I really appreciate this. And the three speakers that have gone ahead of me, Prof. Acheampong, Miss Sylvia, and Miss Doreen, I must say they have done a good job, and I could see that they have a real high in-depth and understanding into the subject matter, and it has actually been very impactful and insightful. So today we are looking at from the lab to the market, practical lessons in building a science-based product and marketing strategy. As scientists, the first thing you should know is that your science as a subject that you studied is very valuable, but it becomes opportunity when you turn it. That is when you take that science opportunity and then you turn it into a solution that people understand, they are trusting it, and then they are willing to pay for it. So your degree, your first degree, your thesis, your dissertation is actually not the end. In fact, it is a starting point. And like Prof said early on, as scientists, we already have a product or a service that we can offer out there. The only thing that is left is how we can translate those chemical reactions, those saponification reactions and all the emulsification that we studied in chemistry, take it out there, and then all the fermentations we did and the biotechnology, biochemistry, to take it out there into the market. And I want to find out from the audience, have you ever had any science-based product? I want to see your reaction if you have had any science-based product, as in product here, meaning either it's a service or it's a tangible good. I want to see your reactions. And if yes, what is a science-based product? Abigail, what would you say a science-based product is? I'm still waiting for you. With my background as a teacher, I like to mention names. Okay, so if it's a service, if it's science-based, what do you mean when we say the service is science-based? I'm waiting. So because of time, when we say a science-based product, we actually mean that it's a product whose principles and foundations, whose making is based on scientific principle. So let's go into the lab, the principle of saponification and organic chemistry. With saponification, it is used in the production of soap. So there, we could just add a fat and oil being added to a strong alkaline solution like sodium hydroxide or like potassium hydroxide. So we add the two, and then you form a soap and then glycerol, which is actually used to produce glycerin. This is actually done in the lab. Now, how are you able to translate all this thing into business? You know, the interesting thing about business is that, it's like working on a project. The paperwork works perfectly and is excellent. But when it comes to the implementation, it's always not easy like that. It's not easy like that. And then before you take your product out there, you want to know what is the it is being recorded. It is being recorded. You'll be able to get it. Thank you very much. If can you mute that person for me? Thank you very much.
Yes, I just did. I do, and then the person undoes.
Hey, yeah, come on.
All
right. So in continuing, we as scientists, we have a formulation, we have everything set. But out there in the market, the person actually doesn't care about that saponification and emulsification reaction you are using to produce hair conditioners. No. The customer asks something very different. The customer is saying that, what will this product do for me? The customer is asking, how much is it? Will it work for me? And that is actually the gap that we are bridging here today. So a scientist's mindset is very different from the mindset of an entrepreneur. So let's say I meet you and I show you a product, and then I say that, oh, this product it has botanical extracts, and it has preservatives and active compounds, and it has a pH of 5. Oh, I actually my slides got messed up, so I'm just yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. So and it says that, oh, I have this product. So let's say I have one of my products here. So I come to you and I say that, Abigail, I have this product. It contains botanical extracts. It has preservatives and active compounds, and it has a pH of 5.5. Let's say Abigail has no background in science. She'll just be looking at me because she may not buy because she doesn't know what the product will do for her. But when I come to Abigail and I say, oh, Abigail, I have this wonderful product. It's made from organic and essential oils. It's made from carrier oils as well. And we have infused in herbs that will help your hair to grow. It will reduce breakage and itchy scalp and dandruff. Then then Abigail will start giving me attention and listening to me. Okay, so it will do this for me. Then she will be ready to pick money from her pocket and then pay me for that. Please, are we good? So that is what is called the value proposition. So it is basically a clear, concise a clear, concise statement of the uniqueness of your product. So Abigail goes out there, let's say to SG Mall, she sees Yaphe Wild Growth Oil, and that is what will make her to buy the product, because she knows that it will help her with the hair breakage, with dry scalp, with dandruff, with hair loss, and any other related hair issues as stated. Okay, so as science people, we have to know that. And one problem I see around is that as scientists, we have potential solutions to a lot of things. And I'm using my own example here because I have a few products here I'll be showing you here and there. So when someone asks you, so like Miss Doreen just said, in a pitch, you don't just say that I manufacture hair products. All right. You come out with a problem. Okay, so there is this problem of a lot of hair loss, a lot of dandruff, and Black women experiencing a lot of coarseness in hair, and it becomes very difficult for them to manage their natural hair in as much as they want to wear their natural hair like I'm wearing it now. Then you look at a problem, and then you bring out a product that will be able to, one, help to sustain or maintain moisture for a long time in the hair. And in the maintenance of moisture, that is when we have the emulsification coming in, because we need oils and we need water. And you know, naturally, oil and water are immiscible. Even if you mix it, the color changes. After a few minutes, the oil settles on top of the water. But via emulsification reaction, one is able to get it together and help to nourish the hair and then to moisturize the hair. So in that case, I'll not just say I manufacture hair products. I will say that as a trichologist, I understand how the scalp and then the hair works, and I've been able to develop a product to be able to help hair prevent hair loss and then breakages. Then the person will go like, oh, okay. So that's the first thing I spoke of. You have to identify the problem that people are facing. So I just told you what Yaphe is facing, and I just offer the solution. And the next one is research. You have to read around what people have done, what people are doing, and is everyone out there ready to pay for that? So you have to understand the science, the existing solutions, and then you have to tailor it towards the customer needs. And also don't forget, safety concerns is very necessary. And then you go on to develop the product. So if I have a product, how do I develop it? So you're looking at ingredients, you're looking at concentration, you're looking at pH, shelf life, preservation, packaging, compatibility, stability. There are some products that when it gets into the sun, it will, for instance, the emulsifiers, when there's a lot of heat, it would separate. Okay. And then there are some products that if you don't test the shelf life, especially the organic ones, it can go bad even before you start using it. So all these things are very necessary. So you start with a prototype in the lab, you work on something in the lab, and then you work on it, you test it, and then also you take it to the factory level. So you can do just 10 pieces prototype, and then you can increase the amount. Then you can go on to upscale. So I would have spoken about upscale at the latter point, but let me just talk about upscaling now. How do I upscale as a business? And then moving from a small scale to a large scale. How does it work? You know, there are some people, so I always tell when I go out to speak, some people, they don't plan to fail, but they fail to plan. So in upscaling, you have to make sure that you are ready. You have all the needed steps, your SOP, standards of operations, they are intact. Your formulation is intact. And if you started with a lab one, you can produce 10 per a certain quantity or a certain volume of all the products. You have to make sure that if you are preparing 100, that means times 10. And you don't have to wait to start. And then you start using the equipment to try to see if it will be suitable. For instance, if you are preparing, let's say even 10 liters of hair conditioners or body butters, you will actually need a certain volume of water, and then tandem to that, you also need a hand blender, either a small one or the big one. So for that lab grade or that testing grade, you can use a small one. But if you're using it on a commercial base, if you're looking at higher volumes, you have to ensure that you get equipment that will suit the volume that you are looking for. So I've had some of my students, the last time I thought she go back to me, say, well, she said, oh, NG, when I did the formulation, it didn't mix well. So after asking her a few questions, then I realized that she was using a 10-liter hand blender to work in a 50-liter conditioner. It will not work. It will not be able to mix well, and the product may easily become destabilized along the way. So you have to look at your raw materials, the suppliers, the equipment, the consumers, the labor involved, and then the storage. And the consumers here, we are looking at whether you are doing a B2B or a C2C. Are you here with me?
Yes, please.
And then let's look at quality control still within the same. Thank you very much, Sylvia. Sylvia is actually into skincare, so she really understands all that I'm saying because she does a lot of emulsification and addition of oils and stuff like that. So your background really can help you in a sense. Let's talk about quality control. Chemists, we are very good at quality control because that's one of the things that we studied. So quality control basically looks at consistency and same formulation. Okay, so in Ghana, how many of you have gone to buy food, mostly by the roadside? And today the food was nice, but last week the food was not nice. How many of you can testify to that? I want to see the likes. Oh, good. Yes. Chris Brana said, yeah. Doreen also says, maybe you said same. Right. Thank you very much. So you see, do you know why? Because out there, they lack a lot of consistency. So if they are preparing, let's say that 100 packs of jollof rice, for most of them, they don't have formulation and then standardized method there. All they do is that 100, they use, let's say, 10 kilos, 10 kilo rice, they use 5 of them. So all she does is that she prepares the stew. She doesn't have a specific measure. She prepares the stew and that's all she adds to taste, the pepper she adds to taste. No, but we as scientists, we know better. We should know better. That is why we have our foundations there. So you as a scientist, you know that if I'm preparing 10 packs of takeaway jollof rice, I always use 20 grams of salt. I use 50 grams of pepper. And then I use this amount of spice. And if you do that, your products or the outcome, you have a high consistency, and then also the taste would always be the same. Okay, so science is actually, as a scientist, you actually have an upper hand over all the other courses. I'm telling you, you have an upper hand over all the other courses because you have gracious and wonderful foundations that you can use in product formulation. So the product can be in anywhere. It can be in any industry. It can be in the manufacturing. It can be in the food industry. It can be any other industry at all because you know how to formulate and how to calculate. So I had a class some time ago, and the ladies I was training, one of them, she was not so educated. Thank you very much, Frances. She was not so educated. And, you know, in batches, for instance, if I am preparing 10 liters, it may interest you that when you go out there and you have someone that's not so educated like you, and she prepares 10 liters of a particular volume, okay? If she has to prepare 17 liters, and she doesn't want to waste it, it may be very difficult for her because she doesn't know how to use percentage to strike and to know. For instance, I knew a lady that she prepares fresh yogurt. All right, Idrisu, it's good to see you here. Well, at the end, you should get in touch with Prof. Marian. This is Women in Chemistry Network. You would enjoy being part of the network. Right, so if, for instance, the formulation, there was a yogurt formulation and she was taught with 25-liter volume, and she couldn't make 5-liter volume, okay? And she couldn't make something like 2.5-liter volume alone. And it is because she doesn't know how to calculate to get those small volumes and those small batches. So you as a scientist, you have a very high opportunity there. And then also after formulating your product, testing it, letting a number of people using it, and then you'll be able to take it out to the market to sell. And when you take it to the market, some things are involved. Your branding, packaging, your pricing, your marketing, your distribution, and then also your customer service. So I have these two products here. If you want to, let me get back to, okay, Yaphe is a Poku trading. So if you want to Poku trading, and then in the shelf, these two products are there, and you were looking for a hair conditioner, which of them would you buy? I don't think you would buy this. You would definitely buy this Yaphe hair conditioner. And it is basically because of the branding. When we step out into the market, there are a lot of products that are not labeled. You know, maybe if this wasn't from Yaphe, it could even be more effective than this one. However, the downside is that this is no label. So you can see the expiry date, you can see the batch number, you can't even contact them again, you can see the FDA registration number. There is nothing, it doesn't even, you don't even see the ingredients, nor even instructions on each. Okay. So these things are very important in business. I also have here these. This is Yaphe hair products. Okay. So it's actually the same content. I'm going to open it soon for you to see. I don't think you buy this. Because when you see the first thing is you are wondering what is inside, whether it's a hair cream, hair pomade, or even something edible. But with this instruction, Yaphe Wild Growth Hair Cream, you know definitely that this is what it contains. But interestingly, it's the same thing. This is actually made from moringa and then shea butter. It's actually the same thing, but because this one has no branding, it doesn't talk about this. And even if it's with somebody and anyone sees it, the person can easily read and be able to reach out and pick one of their own. So we are talking about how to take your business from the laboratory into the market. This is actually shea butter, okay? Shea butter. And this is moringa. Now, we have given the shea butter value by producing this. Most people would not want to use shea butter because of the smell, because of how thick. This is very hard and hard it is, okay? But it has been refined into this product, and all the properties of shea butter is in this. And then also the Yaphe Pink Moon body butter is mostly shea butter, okay? And we have refined the shea butter into that. That is what scientists can do, okay? And with this, I had to apply, it has water and oil. I had to apply emulsification to be able to get this, okay? So I gave the shea butter value by producing all these products. Now, at times in the market, there are things that are very difficult for people to do. It's so difficult, okay? And because of that, you can easily create a business out of it. And this reminds me of when I did solvent extraction in first year, and Prof. Marian, actually, she was my lab demonstrator. And she used to say that the things you are learning here, I remember that statement, all the things you are learning here, when you complete school, make sure you apply them. And then she laughed. And that was like, it was actually, it is always 3 lab sessions. And I think it was the last day in first year that we were doing it. And she laughed, smiled, picked up her books, and then she left the lab. And then I realized that what she said was true. This one is actually by solvent extraction. Okay, so solvent extraction, we know it can be used to extract flavors, fragrances, and then also some oils. Now, you can easily give value to someone. This is coconut, dry coconut. And this is Yaphe coconut. It's cold pressed. Okay, and for this, the reaction is quite simple. But not everyone can get time to go and buy coconut, break it, crush it, blend it, sieve, and then get it into a very low temperature or into the sun to be able to get coconut oil. But your science can easily produce this out of you. And for you, you really understand temperatures. And you see, for coconut oil, for instance, one thing about it is that if the temperature is too high, it becomes cold pressed. And then if the temperature is quite low, what happens is that when the temperature is low, you're able to get the cold pressed. Now, you as a scientist, you know the effect of heat on protein. And the protein in the coconut oil, it actually helps to nourish the hair. So knowing the effect of protein, okay, you will know that it is not good for you to overheat the coconut. But unfortunately, in the traditional setting, they feel like, oh, coconut oil is coconut oil. So to be able to produce it fast and then also to be able to get a higher volume, they would heat it to boil before they bottle. And for that one, it has a very pungent smell. And then also, those ones, they don't last as long as the cold pressed coconut oil. And of course, the effect of the cold pressed is far better. And after you have gotten your product and you take it to the market, please don't be afraid of marketing. Kindly type, don't be afraid of marketing. Marketing is not begging people to buy your product. No. It's not begging people to buy them. Marketing is actually communication. Marketing is selling out your product via words, telling them the benefits. Yes, don't be afraid of marketing. Telling them the benefits that they would get by using your product. So you have a product, okay? So let's look at food. Let's use gobe. The guys mostly like it. Now, let's use gobe, for instance. It's a very nutritious food. When you have your egg, you have your onions and all that, well-balanced diet. But when we ask you about your product, who is it for? Don't say the product is for everybody. Miss Doreen made us to understand from the video there was a pitch. And it was specifically, the idea was specifically targeted for the deaf-blind people. Okay? In as much as all of us, we drink water, if you bring a bottled water here, not all of us will take it. Because some of us, we want to take water that has more dissolved salts than the others. Okay, so your product, for instance, if you have winter clothing, you bring it to Africa. Well, not East Africa, but Africa, like West Africa, Ghana, the savannas. We will not buy because we don't have need of them. Though it's a product of value. So you need to check your market where you are. And then you offer a product that they would need. You offer a service that they are ready to pay for. Okay, so you are asking, what does this product solve? And can people trust the product? Can they trust the product? And that is why your knowledge and your testing of the ingredients, your standards, consistency is very important, as I've spoken about earlier. You can build a brand.
Miss Gloria, you have less than 10 minutes. Yeah.
Less than 10 minutes. Great. I'll be done very soon. So let's look at pricing. Please don't be afraid to charge. Please type in the chat box, don't be afraid to charge. Did you see how much the pet rock was costing? It was just a rock. Don't be afraid to charge. So when we look at pricing, what are we looking at? Your raw materials, your packaging, your labor, equipment, electricity, transportation, marketing, labels, wastage, storage, administration, taxes, regulatory cost, and even standards cost, and your time and your profits. So for instance, this coconut oil, this one is just 80 Ghana cedis. Someone will say, oh, this is too expensive, or let me use a local palette. Hey, wait, anybody do me? Okay, you can go and buy it. Someone said, this is too expensive. I would go and buy my own coconut, crush it and make it. Do you know how long it will take for you to produce this volume? And if you are not producing it on a large scale, it will cost you far more than that 80 Ghana cedis, even excluding your time that you wasted in that. And in production, there can be a lot of challenges. So challenges of raw materials, challenges of suppliers getting the raw materials on time, and standardization. So when I source my raw materials, I've been there before. For instance, the shea butter in the north, I know the conditions under which they prepare it. And then when I buy the herbs like the cloves, the fenugreek and all that, we do all examinations on that. And you as a chemist, you'll be able to do that. All those things you have learned in the lab, and whether you're a biochemist or any of the STEM courses, you will be able to easily know that this is the amount I'm expecting, and I'm definitely going to get this out of that. And in final words, I want us to want to create a business idea right now. So because of time, let me proceed ahead of you. When mango is in season, if you go to the market, you realize that there's a lot of spoilage. How many of you have seen it before? to the extent that some of the mangoes, they start throwing them away. Yes. Good. Thank you very much. When mango gets very soft like that, you can easily turn it into a drink. So me, in those seasons, that's when I go to the market and then I buy the soft ones and then I will just produce a drink in the house. So let's say that for the activity, I'd say, what are people struggling with? These farmers and these market women, they have a lot of mangoes that are over-ripening and they have nothing to do with it. And who are our main customer? So we want someone who wants to have a healthy fruit, but people who are diabetic, they are not our target group because there's too much sugar in it. And then we can even target it for kids. And then what technology am I going to use? You know that you definitely crush them and then you'll be using these mixing to be able to extract the juice out of it. The same thing happens with avocado, pear. And then the solution is that is a nutrition for children, okay? And then the sugar would actually increase your appetite. And it has high level of vitamin C. And then what difference are you bringing? That you are bringing a product that is affordable, locally produced. But one thing is important, that you need to consider the source of your raw materials as a business person. Yes. So in conclusion, I want to say that your chemistry can become a product, it can become a company, it can become a solution, and you don't have to limit yourself as a scientist. And it's always beautiful to see great minds like you here. And that idea that you have, take it to the market. Help someone to solve a problem, meet someone at the point of their need, and make some good money and a good name for yourself and posterity. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Please give it up to Mrs. Gloria Boateng. You've really taken us from the lab to the market, and we are so grateful, from measurement to branding to costing. In fact, you've done it all. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. We will take 5 questions because of time. Please, if you have extra questions, you can put them in the chat section and it will be read out. Also, you can reach out to any of our session coordinators and have a further discussion with them about the presentation that was made. So if you have a question, 5 people, hands up, please. And the rest will go to our chat section. The first hand I am seeing here is Doreen. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I really thank the organizers of this program that they have really thought about everything critically and given us the best of the resources on board. We are so grateful. But I observed something, talking about science and everything. I was thinking maybe they have omitted packaging, because science will work, science will produce, but to get it to the final consumer, you need a packager, somebody to package it. So I was thinking in the next session, I know surely there'll be other sessions, you consider bringing somebody who is experienced on board in packaging, and to talk about how packaging can also influence our products and get it to the final consumer, and also make us make more revenue for us. Thank you very much.
Right. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Doreen. I guess Miss Gloria spoke a bit about the packaging. She didn't go into depth, but it's been noted. And with the next,
I'm a packaging consultant, so I can leave my number on the platform so that you can call me. You can have a further discussion, and then maybe the next session I can also come on board, because the women, the resource people have given a brilliant idea, brilliant, so insightful, and they have really done their research so well. They have really done it. So bringing a
Thank you.
capital on board will also help. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. You can leave your contacts behind and you will be contacted for those sessions. Thank you so much for availing yourself for that. We will take the next question from Francis Ayaba. Hello, Francis. Kindly unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm so grateful being part of this presentation. It has really taught me a lot of lessons and things I never thought of. I've always had this kind of business, kind of idea and stuff, but I didn't know how to actually go about it. I mean, the whole thing. I have this kind of business idea. It is something really important, but the things I can use to start it is what I don't have now, and I don't know how to go about the whole thing, and then the packaging as well. And I thank the lady who just spoke on packaging. Yes, and the packaging as well. So I have the plan, but how to start the whole thing is kind of hectic. I don't know how to go about it. So maybe if you can leave your contact, I will call you personally, discuss with you, and then if you can give me advice, or even here can give me advice further onto how I can go about it.
Right, Francis, thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Doreen just left her contact in the comment section. You can contact her about the packaging.
Okay.
And if there's any contribution or an answer or clarification from any of our section coordinators, you will put it forward. I want to see more hands.
In fact, there's a question in the chat.
Okay. All right, so we have a question in the chat box that reads, how do I actually come up with a formula for a cosmetic or consumer product? All right, so Ms. Fafali or Mrs. Gloria can take charge of that.
Okay, I'll start and then Sylvia would finish up. So he said, how do I come with a formula? Now, you know, the world has become easy for us. So, and then there are a lot of products that have already been done. Product becomes new when you work on an existing product to make it better, to make it more user-friendly. So you need to first start with your research, read about it on the internet, and then ask people about it. Then from there, you can take it into the lab. So all the stuff that you get from the people, and then also from the content online on publications, then you'll be able to apply it. Sylvia, please, over to you.
All right. So just like what Gloria has said, indeed, in order for you to come about your own formulation, you need to build upon what already exists. So in my case, I had basic knowledge when it comes to formulation. At least that's a must-have, a basic knowledge about formulation. And once you have that knowledge, you can say, okay, I think I like this product, because that is how I started. I like this Eversheen cocoa butter, but I think I can do it. I can make it better. You can look at the ingredients in there and then look at what you can add or take out, and then come about with your own what's the word, quantities, the quantity used per formulation, and then you can do a try and error and then get something going. But you need the knowledge for starters, and then you can improve on already what exists. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I hope that makes a bit of sense. Chris Brianna.
All right. Thank you so much for the answer given. Thank you, Mrs. Boateng. Thank you, Mrs. Fafali. Any hand up Any more questions? I'm not seeing any questions in the chat section. And then all hands are down. So for time's sake.
Can I ask one more question?
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this question goes to Ms. Fafali. You made mention of we documenting the people we employ as we start our businesses. What should be the right standard? Because then I can just pick a sheet or maybe just write people's name and their ages. What would you advise if I'm actually to get a funding? How should that presentation be for me to add to my documentation? Thank you.
Very well. So in things like this, before you even recruit someone to work for you, you already have some kind of data about them, probably let's say their CV information. And so with that, with your little human resource department which you have, I mean, when I mean department, of course, you should have a folder where you have all your human resource information on all the workers you employ. And with that, you have probably their ID card details. And the ID card details already have their name, where they're coming from, their nationality, and their age. So that alone is already enough proof that you had this person working or having worked with you. And it's so easy to do. You want to pay somebody, you're like, no, you need to sign this, you need to produce an ID card. And then you do a photocopy of it, and you can put it together with the pay voucher the person signed on to. And there you can be able to compile the information that indeed you've worked with X number of people within this age range, depending on the funding requirements of that application.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then my last one goes to Miss Modzinski, if she's still here. Yeah, so with the pitching, we know there are some of us that are not very fluent when it comes to making short, if I should say, attractive or compelling sentences to come out with a very simple pitch. What would you advise such a person who is not into that? You know, some people are naturally have that flair and they're able to come out with something. Is it also advisable to employ someone to do that for me if I don't have it? I don't have that flair. Doreen, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here. I didn't understood the part with employ somebody.
No. So I think that one was to Ms. Fafali. So I'm saying when it comes to pitching, you know, some people naturally can pitch their ideas flawlessly. But there are some of us too who have difficulty in making those short, putting those short ideas together. What would you recommend if I have a business and I have such an issue? What would you say I should do?
Is it a question for me?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I think, of course, you can get help to practice with somebody. I think it's better if you pitch on your own, even if it's a little bit difficult. I would not let pitch somebody else. Besides, you would be a team of 3 persons, and one person is very communicative and have a lot of language with the whole body. But beside this, of course, you can get help and to make it short and easy and to practice. So yeah, it's
Okay.
that was.
Practice.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. Any other person with a question? Any other? Okay. So I have a question. Professor George said that products, there's no less valuable product or idea, as in whatever that comes in mind, you can try to put it out into something and then get it done. You don't have to have this big idea before you can put it out there. And then when it got to the funding aspect, I also heard that your idea should be fundable. And there I get stuck a bit. So what are our funders actually looking at? If I am seeking to produce a tea bag from medicinal plants, can that qualify me for funding? That will go to Mrs. Fafali. So I've said two questions, one for Mrs. Fafali and one for Prof. George. That Prof, is this my idea? Is it valuable? Because I'm thinking it's so small, something like that. And if I'm going to do that, then I need funding. And the funding is telling me that is my idea going to be accepted? And here I don't know what to do. Hello, Miss Sylvia. Oh, I think she's off.
Oh, did you call
Yes,
me?
yes, please, I did. I asked.
Okay.
Yes, I was asking that it's an idea that I think is small, but because I heard Prof. George saying that my idea shouldn't be too big, I'm thinking of just taking some plants that I know around and then turning them into leaf tea bags for their medicinal purpose. So such an idea. But at the beginning, I felt, oh, it's not less of an idea. After listening to Prof. George's presentation, and then I came to your presentation and I asked myself, is my idea fundable? So I want to know, is this idea fundable?
Indeed, your idea is fundable if there is viability for growth, viability for sustainability, and then viability for impact. So if you're looking at making tea, dried tea leaves, should I say, from a plant that is beneficial to our health, then you need to back that your application with, scientific proof that indeed this leaf is good for our health, or is going to help X number of people with this medical condition and improve their health. Then, because if people have medical conditions that plant can help, then that means that you'll be able to sell.
Okay.
And then also, indeed, if you're going to sell, means you're going to make money. You're going to make money, there's profit. So anybody would want to fund an idea like that. And of course, if you want to look at sustainability element in the circular economy, anything you can, of course, you need to research to see if you can incorporate any of those things in there to make your application even more viable and successful. So people have seen ideas that I thought were silly, but then at the end of the day, they could generate funds. So why not? And it was taken, or funded, should I say.
All right. Thank you. So there is a question in the chat that says, Dr. George mentioned that we should start small, and I really like that idea. But as an undergraduate student, sometimes we have the plan and the scientific knowledge, but we don't have the equipment, money, or resources to turn the idea into a product. In that situation, what should we do? Prof, is Prof around? Prof George, please, are you here with us?
Please repeat the question.
I think he's not here.
Hello?
Okay. So the question says that because she is an undergraduate, sometimes they have the plan and the scientific knowledge, but they do not have the equipment, money, or resources to turn the idea into a product. In that situation, what should I do? This, I will answer you, Miss Mary. Ms. Fafali said that there are funding that are available. You can Google fundings that are available for cosmetics, for plant medicine, and then you get quite a couple of them, and then you do apply. So that's to your question. And how do we move from having the idea to actually starting it? Confidence and passion. That's what moves you from that. And what is one thing you wish we knew before starting your hair career? And that goes specifically to Miss Sylvia.
Okay, no, that question is not for me, but she says, and to Miss Sylvia. So probably she may be asking me because I don't do hair care products. So I'm sure this question is actually to Miss Gloria.
Miss Gloria. Mrs.
Yeah.
Boateng, please, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here. So simply, you know, growing up as a scientist, everything was science. So when I started business, I struggled with two things, marketing and financial literacy. So I had to really take courses in marketing and then also how to balance my books, do accounting, bookkeeping, and all that. I had to be very strict on that because the business itself, the product is there, but how the money goes and comes, how you have to check on your assets and everything like that, you have to learn it. If you don't learn it, when you're even losing money, you may not know. So those two things, because nobody teaches that marketing in chemistry or financial literacy and organic chemistry. It's not done there. You have to learn that. And that's one thing I struggled with in the beginning, but now I'm on top of that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Boateng, for the answer. Frances, your hand is up, and that will be the last one for the... Frances, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Please, my question is that per the presentation, it was made mention that you don't necessarily have to start your own idea. You can actually look at what other people have done and then build upon it. So my question now is, assuming you go to the market, let's say Tom Brown, for instance, you go and buy it, and then you taste it, you kind of change one thing or add just one ingredient to it and change the taste. So something like that, can you go ahead to let me say produce it in large scale, plan around it, establish it into a business? And also the next question is the registration. I think we've not spoken on that one. How will you get the FDA registration, and then the cost it will take you, what you need to know around the registration? Yeah, thank you so much.
Hello, Afua, let me take this.
Yeah, I was going to direct it to you.
Okay. Now, when you have a business idea, you want your business to flourish. If you have an idea, you need to do your market research, number one. If you have a lot of people doing the same thing, then it's going to be highly competitive. Then you're forced to look at what unique thing are you bringing on board that is different from what's already on the market. If you feel you want to do Tom Brown and you've looked at somebody's formula and you think you can improve upon it and still sell and make money, well, go ahead. You can. But if you're looking for funding, it's not just taking a formula out there, improve upon it, and then think it will fly. No, you need to back it with a lot of proof, just like my earlier slide stated. Do we have the customers to buy it? Number one, is it a unique idea? Do you have customers buying it? Are you making money out of it? If that idea is funded, will there be greater returns? Will it be impactful? There are a lot that goes into it than just taking a formula and then just tweaking it to get something unique for yourself. That's aside. But in connection with FDA registration, you can always pick up a form from the FDA office, or anybody else who is not here on the call from Ghana. You can go to your Food and Drugs Authority and then look at what is required of you to be able to get a product of yours certified, and then for you to get operating license. It's it starts from cottage. There's cottage industries, and then it goes cottage is the least, and then with that, the amount you pay for cottage industry certification is not as high as small or medium or large scale industry. So you can always visit the FDA, visit their website, and then look at what is required of you. For one thing I know is that your business has to be registered with the Office of the Registrar of Companies. So make sure at least you are able to do that. And then there are funding opportunities that help you register your business. So you can start small, look at funding opportunities like opportunities from the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Biz in the Box for Women, where they entreat you to come and then they register your businesses for you. And it goes to women that are 40 years and below. So you look at all the funding available, look at it to see if it's exactly what you need at your business stage, idea, if your idea, a startup, growth, and things like that. Okay. I don't know if I've answered questions satisfactory to you, Francis.
Yes, please. I really thank you for that assertion. But I don't know why this is limited to women. When I saw the thing initially, it was like women.
She's innocent. She's innocent. She didn't establish those agencies. So
because the nurses taught here everything. This one, why always women?
Don't worry. I guess you can also go and then search, and possibly there are men's own there, but because the women own are more spoken about, so we tend to know that they are in the system, but there are men's own that are available, or bisexual own, or unisex own that are available. So you can just do a search, and then when you get the answers, you talk about it so that other men too will know that, there are men's own, just that it's the women that are talking more about their own. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful, insightful program, workshop. I have noted a whole lot of things down that I'm going to put into practice, and I know that all other participants too have same. The next session is closing remarks, and that will be done by Professor Marian Asantewah Nkansah. Dr. Latifatu.
Yeah, Dr. Aja will give the closing remarks.
All right.
Okay, so I will do that on behalf of our convener and founder. So it's been a great program indeed, and we would like to thank our distinguished speakers. They've done wonderfully well, and I believe we all agree to that. The insightful presentations, all the dedications and commitment they've put together in putting their presentations together, with sharing their experiences with us. We are so grateful. We have been reminded that our scientific knowledge should not remain only in the classroom, laboratory, or research, or it has been a research publication. It can become an innovation, a product, a service, a business, and ultimately a solution to real societal problems. They've given us all their experience, and I believe if we take this forward, whatever business idea or dreams we have, establishing something that can bring us impact and as well as some income will go a long way to be fulfilled. I also hope that each participant leaves this workshop with a new perspective to look at your knowledge differently, identify opportunities around you, and have the courage to transform your ideas into action. We encourage you to continue learning, ask questions, seek mentors. Already, you have some already. If you have any question regarding what has been done, I believe they also have some experience. We could still talk to your mentors. And even I'm sure if I should ask our distinguished speakers, please, would you be kind to share your slides with us, so we share it with our mentors and any other person, any participant who is here? Is that okay? Would we have your slides? Oh, please, I will appreciate some responses from all our speakers. Doreen.
Oh, yeah,
I was saying with my head, yes.
Great. All right, so great. Thank you for that. Thank you. So we also encourage you to continue learning. I've said that. And then we extend our heartfelt appreciation to our distinguished speakers. You've done wonderful this evening. Professor Acheampong, Miss Fafali Orou, Miss Mlodzik, and Mrs. Akuamoah Boateng. We are grateful for your time and your contribution. Our convener, we also say thank you for your continued support and participation in all activities connected to this mentorship program. Participants, we are so appreciative of you staying up to this time. To our mentors, our mentees, remember your science has value, your ideas matter, your knowledge can create opportunities. Let us move from classroom to laboratory, from laboratory to innovation, and from innovation to impact. On behalf of the Women in Chemistry Network and the Women in Chemical Sciences Mentorship Programme and our convener, I thank you all for your participation and commitment. Women in Chemistry Network, chemistry, our world, our life. Can we echo this together? Women in Chemistry Network, chemistry, our world,
our life.
One more time, please.
Women in Chemistry Network.
Chemistry,
our world, our life.
Thank you, and I wish you all continued success.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Latifah. We will call on Miss Tabitha to give us a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Please, I hope I can be heard clearly.
Yes, Mommy, you are well heard.
Okay. As we bring this session to a close, I would like to thank God for a successful program and also sincerely appreciate each of our speakers, Prof. Acheampong, Miss Orou, Miss Mlodzik, and Mrs. Akuamoah Boateng. Thank you so much for not sharing just your expertise, but your personal experiences and practical perspectives on the different paths that science can open. Thank you for reminding us that the journey from the classroom does not have to end only in the laboratory. Your stories and insights have given us so much to think about as we navigate our own journeys of business from science. A special thank you to Prof. Marian Asantewah Nkansah, Engineer Dr. Latifatu Mohammed, our moderator, Ms. Afua Kobi Genfi, and the Women in Chemistry Network at large for putting together a program like this. One that brings students, young professionals, academics, and industry experts into the same conversation and helps us see possibilities that we may not have considered before. And to my fellow mentees and everyone who joined us today, thank you for being part of the conversation and making time to invest in your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you all very much, and God bless us all.
Welcome. And thank you to Mame Tabita for the Thanksgiving you've given us. We will call on Miss Christiana Mensah for the closing prayer.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Amen.
Thank you for the opportunity. Please, we want to pray. Father, we are thankful for a moment to learn, to have knowledge shared and experience shared as well. We are thankful for a successful workshop. We want to thank you for the opportunity to participate. We are grateful for our convener, Prof. Marian, for using her to champion this movement that will help us impact Ghana and the world at large. We thank you for the life of our coordinator, Dr. Aja, our moderator, Dr. Afua, for using them to lead this successful workshop. We are also grateful for our distinguished resource persons and the grace and the strength you give them to share their knowledge and experience. We pray that whatever virtue has gone out of them, you will replenish them and give them more ideas so that they can continue to impact other lives and our lives as well. We pray for Women in Chemistry Network that it will grow larger and stronger so that our impact will be felt at large in science, in the industry, and everywhere we find ourselves. We pray for grace and the wisdom, the strength to put it to use, whatever we've learned here, so that at the end, your name will be glorified. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you for the prayer, Miss Christiana Mensah. And thank you, everybody, for making time to be here to the end. Our take home, I would like to echo, no idea is too small. And then get a funding, search for the funders, those that can help you with setting up, those that can help you with just the idea. And then keep going, taking your ideas from your mind to the laboratory and to the market. God be with us all. See you next time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.